And there are good arguments either way. Wow, this site is ugly. But I think it's an interesting problem, and I think it's good to have a way to be able to kick people out for being legitimate morons, or illegitimate morons, or whatever. So I'm kind of keen to have one of these anyway. Let's see. Code of conduct. That's cool. I don't even have to write it myself. I can just use the one from contributor-covenant.org, contributor-covenant.org. That's the one thing. The next thing is I want a license for this, so I'll probably say MIT license. I have other sources for this in my file system, and I just always forget about them. Forget where they are. Come on in. Okay. MIT basically says, is a software license that just says, do what you want. That's what that's all about. Copyright 2015. Now, we could kind of format this. I'm not really fond of how it's weirdly formatted, but I don't care much for doing that. Now, license, code of conduct. I'm going to pull the, let's see, I'm going to pull some files from another repo because I've just remembered where these things are, and because I don't feel like writing them out. Contributing. Yeah, contributing. Okay, this is actually just the one I didn't feel like writing out. Let's see, contributing. Yay! Ask me a question on Twitter. That's what that's about. And let's just give this a title, and then we'll commit these, and I think we'll call it there. Added community files. Okay, so these files are basically about telling contributors how they need to interact with the project. There should be, I mean, you can do more in-depth documentation in contributing. So, like if you have a style guide, or if there are certain kinds of issues or pull requests you do want or you don't want, reasons you reject stuff outright, you can put that in contributing. I generally don't have that kind of stuff, so it's okay if people just ask on Twitter, or I'll explain it, and if it happens frequently enough, then it's something I can add to contributing. License, if you don't have a license, your code's closed source technically, because no one can legally use it. So have a license. And then code of conduct, because then if people are being jerks to other people, I can tell them to shut up or leave. That's kind of cool. And because if I get other main contributors to open source stuff and they start acting like jerks, there's good documentation to say, listen, this thing you're saying is uncool, or this thing you're doing is uncool, stop it or leave. So that's why those three are there. So these are kind of community files. The aliases that I've used tonight, because someone just pointed them out, the aliases that I've used tonight are GS, which is for get status, GAC, which is get add dot, semicolon, get commit dash a dash m, and then the message. So you can do get GAC and then whatever message you want, and that'll add all files that are uncommitted and commit them. It's pretty handy alias. I also have GP for get push, but since GitHub and Git recent versions got very uppity about specifying upstreams everywhere, I use this less and less, because I generally make a branch and write stuff on and then push when it's supposed to go up to a new branch, and then it moans, and then I just specify upstreams most of the time. Or I'll rebase and need to force push, and then I don't want to do GPF or whatever. So what's this looking like now? We kind of don't need this. Close and delete. Whoa, why is that taking so long to close? Delete. Okay. So we've got some community files. We've got contributing license and code of conduct. We don't have README on here, so setting up a README might be a really good idea with instructions of how to install stuff and how to get stuff running and how to get stuff in a browser. That's maybe a good thing for another time, and I'll work on that, and if I get this to like a releasable state, then I'll put a link about it in chat in a future daily. But for now, I think this is a really good base. We can use this as a starting point for future dailies or future modules or whatever, and just clone this, or if it's up on npm, create an npm project from it, and then immediately start writing code, immediately start writing tests, and we don't have to set up all this stuff next time, which I think is pretty exciting. I must work out the Travis thing as well, because it should be failing. I want it to fail because it should be failing. But once I've got that stuff worked out, I'll let you know, and then we'll probably just use this to go on with. I think we'll call it there. So thank you very much for being here and for being involved with stuff and for burning baskets and being patient as I fumble through code. As I mentioned yesterday, there's going to be no stream until next Saturday or Sunday, depending on how I feel after I get off a very long plane ride on Saturday, because I'm going to ZenCon in Las Vegas, and it's a PHP conference, and I'm super excited to meet all the people that I'm going to see there, to talk with them, because I've only met them on Twitter, as one does, and I'm going to do a couple talks on asynchronous code, which might be quite fun, so maybe I'll get videos for those after the conference, like a few weeks after the conference, as usually happens, and then play them up on a stream or put them on YouTube and link to them. So yeah, look out for me next Saturday. This stream seems to have gone well in terms of not dropping, so I should have it up there pretty soon. I'm not sure that I have the full stream data for yesterday because it was dropping quite a bit. I may only upload a small part, if any, of yesterday's stream, which is kind of irritating because it's good to have that in archives, but it just kept dropping so much. I lost a lot of that footage. But I'll upload this because this seems to have gone really well, which is great. And we did quite a lot of cool productive stuff. So I'll upload this. Look for me next Saturday or next Sunday, and it usually works very well if you follow on Twitch, because then you can get emails for when I go live, and that's just twitch.tv/assertchris. Or if you follow on Twitter, then you can also probably see updates. So I'd probably say there if I'm going to go live on Saturday or not, which is twitter.com/assertchris. It's very easy. And I will see you next time. Thank you for being here, wonderful people.